Welcome to the Love Rekindled show, where real stories, heartfelt advice, and expert guidance come together to help you create richer, more meaningful relationships. Meet your certified relationship coaches, Margot and Antonio Taylor. Through transformative coaching, informative workshops, and special events, the Love Rekindled community empowers families and couples to grow closer, communicate openly, and embrace the power of love. This is the Love Rekindled show. Let's begin.
Tonight, we pause to recognize something deeper than success. We recognize service. We recognize sacrifice. And we recognize a calling that goes beyond career. A calling rooted in compassion. So there are physicians, and then there are healers. There are clinics, and then there are safe havens. And so Dr. Charles Moore represents both. Through Healing Community Center and its 4 clinics, he has created spaces where medical care, dental care, and mental health services are not privileges, but accessible pathways to dignity and hope for underserved families. But before the clinics, before the titles, before the recognition, there was a young man shaped by family, faith, values, and vision. Tonight, we want you to understand the journey, not just the accomplishments. So please join me as we step into a conversation with the man behind the mission. I say welcome, Dr. Moore.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to interview you. And I'm so excited because the Love Rekindle, we are recognizing you at our 2026 Love Rekindle Gala. And you will be receiving the Health Equity Award. And it's so rewarding for me to have the opportunity to sit and have this conversation with you. So I'm excited to be here.
Me too.
Thank you so much for joining me. So, Dr. Moore, take us back a moment. Where did your story begin?
Sure. So, I grew up in upstate New York, just outside of Syracuse in a small little town. It's really a hamlet, so it's not even a town. One street light with a creek down the end of the street that my siblings and I would go down and go fishing, and my parents had a large yard, and so really all of our family, we were there, and my cousins were in the same area. I sometimes jokingly say, if you think of Andy Griffith and Mayberry, that's kind of where I grew up. The only difference is that there were some black people here.
Right. I love that. So you grew up in a small town, small knit town, upstate New York. Love to hear it. So was there someone in your family who modeled service or leadership to you?
Both of my parents always modeled service and leadership, and they taught that to their children. I saw how my parents would help their neighbor. I saw how they would prepare like food baskets and things at holidays and other times, or if there's somebody in need, they would step out to do that. We were always kept in church, so we were doing things through our church as well. And just generally how giving my parents were, and all of my siblings are the same way.
You know what, Dr. Moore, that's a blessing.
It is.
Definitely wanting to have this conversation with you, wanting to know, where was those humbling beginnings? What do your family structure look like? Just to let our viewers know and other people understand that, when you step into leadership and you step into service, a lot of times it's something that has been embedded in you, or you have seen, people in your family, serve the community and do things like that. So when did medicine shift from being an idea to becoming your calling?
Sure. So according to my parents, I've always wanted to be a physician. So around the age of 3 to 4, I would say I wanted to be a doctor. And so my parents are very indulgent. They didn't tolerate nonsense, but as long as it was something positive, they're going to go, all out to make sure that it happened.
Wow.
And for example, my mother would be watching television or reading the paper, and she'd let me bandage her with toilet paper to pretend like I was doing bandages.
Oh, cool.
And but couldn't be wasteful, so I had to roll that back up and keep that at the end. And my father, he worked construction, and I remember specifically there was an an incident where he had gotten like a splinter stuck in his finger. It was huge. It was probably as big as a tree trunk, really. And he kept it in his finger all day long so that when he came home, I could practice doing the sterile field and getting my little magnifying glass and tweezers and prepping like I was getting ready for surgery to take it out. And he could have just plucked that out. So if there's something positive, my parents always kind of supported that, and not only us, but in other people as well.
That's amazing. You know, just to hear how your parents heard you say what it is you wanted to do, and what really is important is the support.
Absolutely.
So to hear how your parents were so influential in letting you see the vision, letting you see who you could become, that was amazing. So did you always see yourself serving communities in this way? Did you see that did you say in your younger years that, you know what, I want to help, I want to serve? Did you have that feeling?
You know, I saw how my parents always served people. I saw how my siblings always served people. At a pretty early age, two of my sisters had worked at a home for the deaf, blind, and multi-handicapped. So I started volunteering there probably around the age of 10 or so, and my parents allowed it because I was going to be with them. Otherwise, they probably said no. And so I volunteered there until I was able to be hired, and then that was my first real job. They hired me at that place.
That's great.
Yeah, and so I got to see not only what it was like to first volunteer and be of service, as well as all the other things that we were doing with our church and other things, but also I learned more about the medical field and about hearing loss and about other issues related to health at a kind of deeper level. And then my mother also, if there weren't opportunities for me to learn about medicine and health, she made it a point, any opportunity that there was, any opening, she would say, for example, if we went to a doctor's visit, it didn't matter if it was mine or hers, she would say, oh yeah, my son wants to be a doctor. You know, it might be nice if he could come and just see what you do on a daily basis. And so she would make opportunities to, for me to learn more.
So your mom advocated, your parents advocated for you. And that is amazing, because ultimately, Dr. Moore, that's what it takes. To get through medical school and do the things that you've done. You can't do that alone.
You can't.
So you would definitely need a village. So it's clear that your upbringing laid a strong foundation as you stepped into medicine. What kind of physician did you aspire to become?
You know, initially, from my experiences with the volunteer work and then later getting hired, I thought about otolaryngology, ear, nose, and throat physician. The main reason for that is because it focuses a lot on voice, on speech, but we also do things related to sinuses, tumors that are in the sinuses and grow into the brain or in the neck. And in that area in particular, I think people present themselves in a way that is so personal, because the world sees your face, they hear your voice, and oftentimes that helps to shape who you are.
It's part of your identity.
Absolutely. And so I went in thinking that that's what I was going to do. And then after a series of events, the first experience I had with it was not good. But the later one was phenomenal. And it goes back to what you're saying about having advocates and people that will be willing to work with you. I met someone that was just enthusiastic about the field, enthusiastic about working with young people, and that let me know that that was the area for me.
Amazing. What does compassionate healthcare mean to you personally?
Great question. I think compassionate healthcare is authentic healthcare. Being able to provide care for folks in a way that not only meets their medical needs, but treats them with dignity, with respect, allows them to be fully engaged in the process. So what I mean by that is it's not helpful for me to tell somebody, you need to do this, 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 and this. when it won't work with their life.
Right. I agree.
Right. So if, for example, you give somebody a medication that needs to be refrigerated, well, what if they don't have a refrigerator?
Correct.
What good is that?
Right.
So you really need to be fully engaged with your patient, know what will work and what won't work, and if it won't work, try to figure out why and how things can be modified.
I agree. And I just think it's so important that you have the ability to see beyond your client's medical charts. You know, you have the ability to have the compassion for the families that you serve. And I think that is so important. So I want to ask you, was there a patient encounter early in your career that changed you?
There were a few. One of the earliest ones was when I was just starting my ear, nose, and throat residency. Again, my parents really tried to instill in me, you treat everybody with respect.
That's
so
right.
My mother would say things like, make sure you knock on the door before you walk in there, because even though it's your office space, it's don't be abrupt like that. Let people know that you're coming in. And
Right.
so I went in like, hi, I'm Charles Moore, blah, 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 and I'll be doing this and this and this. And I was going down my little checklist, my mental checklist of things that I needed to do. And the patient stopped me and said, well, wait a minute. You don't understand. This is someone who had head and neck cancer. And he said, every time I come here, you either give me my life or you take it away.
Wow.
So let's stop and pause for a minute. And I've never forgotten that. Because often you kind of get in a routine.
Yes.
But, you're dealing with people's lives. This
That's
is not
right.
routine.
Right.
And sometimes the things that you say will make that kind of a difference.
Yes.
And you need to have enough understanding. You need to have enough grace.
Yes.
To be open and receptive to what people will be feeling, not only there, but afterwards.
I love that. A doctor with compassion. And I think we all seek that, especially the field that you work in, because when people come to see you, they're in medical situations. And to have that doctor that say, hey, listen, when I come into your room, I'm going to respect you and I'm going to knock before I enter, but I'm also going to be personal with you. And I'm not just going to be routine. And I could appreciate that, because that's what families need.
Absolutely.
That's what's missing in the medical field, the compassion, the empathy, because people are really struggling and they're battling a lot of different things for a lot of different reasons. So what separates good health care from equitable health care?
I believe that healthcare is a right, and that the same quality healthcare that someone can get at the top ranking institution, you should be able to get in your community at a local facility in your neighborhood.
I agree.
It shouldn't matter where you live. It shouldn't matter that your income is a certain amount. From where we are right now, for example, about 5-6 miles away from here, the life expectancy is 10 years greater than this location.
Wow.
Where you live shouldn't determine if you live.
Correct.
And so you need to have all of those resources that are in that location right here.
I agree.
And that's what we try to do. Bring as many resources as we can, try to help educate our patients and our families so that you know what you can do to make your life better, because everybody wants to live a healthy life if they can.
Right.
And that this is a partnership. So we'll work together to make that happen.
I think that is amazing, Dr. Moore. At some point, you decided treating patients wasn't enough. What was the moment you realized something needed to change in healthcare?
Sure. I went medical school at Harvard, residency and fellowship at the University of Michigan, and I came straight down here to Atlanta and started at a public hospital. And from almost day one, patients were coming into my clinic with these huge head and neck cancers. So as I mentioned earlier, cancers of their throat, their tongue. And those cancers were so large that many of them could barely breathe.
Wow.
And often I'd have to just drop what I was doing, race up to the OR to put in a trach and airway so that they could be able to breathe.
Right.
And then get them set up for palliative care. And then I go about my business, and it happened again. And then I drop everything, race up to the OR, put in the trach, get them set up for palliative care. And that kept happening. And I kept saying to myself, somebody needs to do something about this. And it happened again. And I say, somebody needs to do something about this, until one day I thought, well, maybe it should be me.
Right.
So with that, I just took the top 3 zip codes of where my patients were coming from, got in my car and started driving out to those zip codes to see what was going on.
Wow.
Didn't really know what was going on, but I knew within myself that there was something that hopefully I could address or identify that might help my patients.
Right.
So as that happened, I started to, I drove around the areas trying to see things, learn things. I would talk to folks at bus stops and grocery stores.
Wow.
Not really tell them who I was or whatever, because I didn't really, at that
Just
point, know.
familiarizing yourself with the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And folks, they really welcomed me. I was a complete stranger, and they were just telling me about their families and what they were going through. And I thought, I need to do more than this. So I thought, well, I'm really a head and neck cancer guy, so I can do head and neck cancer talks. So I started setting up and doing head and neck, talked about how to prevent head and neck cancer and things you can do, and getting people connected. And I thought, this is good, but I need to do more than this.
Right.
So I bought some supplies, filled up the back of my car, my then Subaru, and started driving to different areas to do head and neck cancer screenings, really focusing on non-traditional locations.
Right.
So like under bridges, abandoned houses, anywhere where folks had difficulty getting access.
So Dr. Moore, you were in the trenches, in the community, doing real work.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
I was
amazing.
trying to.
That's amazing.
Yes,
because the truth is, Dr. Moore, people don't come see about those families in those communities.
Right.
People don't take their time, especially doctors, don't take their time to get in their own physical vehicles and ride around and do screenings under bridges. Let me tell you something. That is, when I say life-changing, to hear that you are so compassionate and empathetic about making change, not only in just the hospital and where you're working, but you're like boots on the ground. You're in the community. You're in those disparity, those areas where families and people are homeless, and saying, how can I help? What can I bring to the community to stop this medical thing that is happening that I'm seeing you all come? I mean, that is like, I don't even know what to say, Dr. Moore, just hearing your heart for people. I'm just grateful to hear that.
Thank you.
What was it like for you? Like now, because you're from upstate New York, so now you're in Atlanta, you're a doctor, and you're now making a decision to ride around. And I'm sure if it was 3 zip codes, it was probably the most compromised areas that a doctor would want to ride around in his personal vehicle. So how was that for you? How did you really connect with the community?
You're right about all those zip codes. And they had all those issues that were going on. Now we call it social determinants of health. Back then, we didn't call it that. There wasn't a name for it. I think people just really saw my sincerity. And so it was easy for me to connect with folks.
Right.
They welcomed me. They, in all the places, the abandoned houses, the under the bridges, they just appreciated that someone cared enough.
So you was going in abandoned houses, Dr. Moore?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Wow.
I was.
Wow.
And actually, the first time I did that, I'll tell you a little story.
Okay, well, listen, Dr. Moore, I'm here for the stories.
Okay.
I want to hear what happened.
So I was at the hospital and seeing patients.
Okay.
And one of my patients came in and said, hey, you're the doctor that likes to help people, right? And I said, oh, well, I think most doctors like to try to help people. And she said, no, you don't understand what I'm saying. You're the doctor that will go to places where people need help. And I said, yes, I do that. And she said, well, I have some places where people really need your help, but they'll never come here. And I want you to think about it. I want you to pray about it. But I'd like you to consider coming here.
Wow.
And so I told her I would. That I'd think about it and pray about it.
Right.
And I did. And I didn't feel I could tell her no. So I went to the first location, and I mean, I called it a bandit house as a PC term, but as a crack house.
Okay.
And she had done a phenomenal job. There was no drug transactions or anything going on, but stepping over a whole bunch of things, seeing all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
And but people were so appreciative of me coming to where they were to do whatever I could.
Right.
And on multiple occasions, I would, provide whatever care I could. And initially, I was just doing head and neck cancer screenings, but I saw all the medical needs that weren't being addressed, so I started doing primary care too. And I would set them up for follow-up.
Right.
And almost all of them came.
Wow.
And again, I remember once there was this guy, it was probably about a 10-mile distance. And I was telling him, I don't know how we can get you there.
Transportation.
Right, transportation is a huge issue. He said, don't worry about it. And that day, I still remember it in clinic, it was pouring out rain. And I come in, and there's the guy sitting there before the clinic opened. He said, I walked here because no one has ever done for me or shown me the level of caring that you have, and I was determined to be here.
Wow.
So he walked through the rain and got there early. So, I think it just, to me, it indicated that whatever people's life situations are, you can, extend a hand.
Right.
You can do even little things, because what I did in that space, I thought was not that big of a deal. But to him, it was huge.
Yes, absolutely. That is an amazing story. It's just, I'm floored to just sitting here and just hearing it, and how, you were so unselfish, Dr. Moore. I don't think I've met another doctor that has been unselfish the way that you are, to go into the areas and to love on people who need to be shown love. And that 10-mile walk was a testament to who you are. It is definitely a testament. So I want to ask, how did the idea for Healing Community Center first take shape?
From all those experiences, when I was driving around the communities and meeting with people, I said to myself, people need healing of their mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely.
And that's how I came up with the word HEAL, but and it's an acronym for Health Education Assessment and Leadership. So really going out into communities, bringing resources and working with the community to identify issues, and hopefully helping to build leaders so that they can also be a part of the solution.
Absolutely.
And so we went from my car to a mobile unit to a facility and a community organization, kind of what you see on television with, water dripping on our heads.
Right.
And now we're a full federally qualified healthcare center with multiple locations, with primary care, OB, behavioral health, mental health services, with dental services. So, God has been really good to us.
That's phenomenal. Healing Community Center is in 4 locations that provides free health care to our communities. Guys, this is so amazing. What Dr. Moore is doing is he's changing the trajectory in our communities with healthcare. He is showing people in the community that, listen, there are doctors that care. There are people that care about your health. And so that's just a whole nother reason why we're acknowledging you, Dr. Moore, because of the work that you're doing. And so I want to ask you, what was one of the biggest obstacles in opening your first clinic?
So, there are a lot of obstacles. I'm trying to think of which one I need to I should share with you
I can
today.
imagine, because I'm thinking to myself, when you go from, because I'm a businesswoman, so I'm tracking. When you go from pulling 3 zip codes, getting in your personal vehicle, riding around, then you decide to bring in, medical equipment, just helping whatever you can do to help. And then you make a decision to say, hey, listen, I want to take this further. I want to provide safe spaces, safe havens for underserved people to come and get the medical help. I'm sure there were some obstacles. And I need people to understand that this wasn't an easy flight for you.
Sure.
But because of your determination and your heart and compassion for people, you push through those obstacles to make sure that you have healing community health centers around the Atlanta area.
You're exactly right. One of the first things that I laugh now, but as I was driving around in communities, I remember when I first came down here, a good friend of mine was just showing me around. I said, "Oh, what's over here?" He's like, "Charles, you'll never be over there. You don't need to worry about it." And but that's where I do a lot of my work.
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
And I was in my Subaru driving around, pretty much dressed like this, honestly, and not really paying attention, but trying to look to see what was going on, where I could be. And then I kind of slowed up, and then all of a sudden, I didn't even notice it. My car was surrounded by people with guns.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I didn't know what to do. So I started praying.
Yeah.
That's
Listen,
what I
Dr. Moore, that's the only thing to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I closed my eyes, and all of a sudden, they all left.
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
that wasn't a miracle. I don't know what was.
Well, Dr. Moore, you was handling God's business.
Right.
You got to know, when you decide to go and be boots on the ground and you decide to go into these underserved communities, God will protect you.
Absolutely.
Oh, the protection is going to come because you're doing God's work.
Absolutely.
You're doing God's work. So I'm grateful that you made it through that.
Yep.
I'm glad you opened your eyes and they was gone, Dr. Moore. I'm so excited about that. So when did you realize this was becoming something bigger than you had imagined initially?
Initially when I started, I really hadn't thought about all of this.
I'm sure.
And it was, I think, when people wanted to try to go along with me. I asked certain folks. The first time didn't really get a great response, and so I backed off of those folks. And then people started hearing about what I was doing, and they're like, well, I can help.
Right.
And I'm like, great. And so, because more people can do more things, and you can reach an abundance of folks.
Absolutely.
And so we started going out together to more traditional locations.
Okay.
And saw the response that people were seeing, and that, again, people were grateful because folks didn't have a lot of expendable income that they could, not only travel, but pay for a babysitter, pay for any co-pays or do anything else. So I saw it gradually starting to grow.
Okay.
And then we transitioned from being a completely free facility to becoming a federally qualified healthcare center. And what's great about that is that we do get some federal funding. It's not enough to cover all the things we do, but it allows folks with and without insurance to come. So we still provide full comprehensive care for everybody.
That's a blessing.
Absolutely. And it allows folks that do have insurance also, often makes more sense financially for them.
Right.
I get my care here, and it continues to grow. And I think sometimes you limit what your ideas or what your blessings can be, and you need to just
Receive it.
receive it.
And walk in it.
Absolutely. It's scary sometimes to walk in it.
Oh, absolutely.
But you
You know what, Dr. Moore? It's scary every time.
Yep.
Every time I do
Yep.
something bigger than what I'm currently doing, every time I expand my mind, just like just hearing your story, like how you started and how you expanded. Now you have 4 locations. And Dr. Moore, you still work and you're still a physician while having these clinics to serve the community. Like I'm ecstatic about your work. So today you oversee 4 clinics. Did you ever imagine that level of impact? Like when you first pulled the zip codes, did you ever think that one day I will have 4 clinics where I'm able to serve these communities?
No, honestly, no. It is a blessing, because it means that I'm doing what I'm meant to do.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's my purpose, and I try to live that intentionally. And as you said, just receive so that hopefully I can take the next step to be of more service.
Love that. Serving underserved families. I'm sure it changed you. What have the communities you serve taught you?
Another great question. They've taught me a lot. I see how people, even though they don't have what many folks would consider not to have much, they'll share it with their neighbor. They'll help them take care of their kids.
Yes.
They'll go out of the way if they see something's wrong to just be there, to let folks know that, if you need me, I'm willing to help. And sometimes we take things for granted.
Right.
And I've seen families that have so many what people would call problems, but they don't necessarily see it that way. Right. It's like, this is my life. And we're doing the best we can with what we have.
Yep.
And sometimes when I see other people that don't have nearly as much, like they have no idea. But I'm grateful to be able to learn from them, to learn with them, and to hopefully take some of that knowledge so that I can be a better person to help somebody else.
I love that. I definitely love that. I want to ask you this, thinking about the people that you served, thinking about your journey and where you are today and where you aspire to be in the future, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. What gives you hope today, Dr. Moore, to say, you know what, this work has to continue?
Honestly, people like you. And I'm not just saying that because you're interviewing me.
Wow.
But all the great work that you do, and I through Love Rekindled and other things that people don't even know about, and all the behind the scenes things.
Wow.
What people need to know is that there are people out there that are trying to make a difference.
Yes.
And that gives me hope.
Absolutely.
And I wish that more folks would step up, because everybody can do something. Everybody can contribute something.
I agree.
So that gives me hope.
I agree. And thanks for sharing that. And I appreciate your sentiment, Dr. Moore, because at the end of the day, the Love Rekindle, we're about service. We're about work in the community. So we don't only do the work in the community, we're here to highlight people like yourself, because we need our community to know who you are. They need to know your name. They need to know that Dr. Charles Moore cares and love for people. They need to understand Dr. Moore didn't start off with the beautiful office we're sitting in, Healing Community Center. Dr. Moore drove around in his own personal vehicle and sat under bridges and went in crack houses and went in disparate neighborhoods to help the community. And that's what the Love Rekindle platform is all about, highlighting people such as yourself. Have you had the opportunity to serve internationally or participate in a mission-based work?
Yes, I have. I have gone on a few mission trips and great experiences, a lot of differences in some ways, because often when you're going internationally, there aren't nearly as many supports as we have here in the U.S.
Correct.
You don't have all the equipment, you don't have all the fancy stuff, but folks there also are just willing to help, willing to step in, create space for you to do whatever you want to do, and they're also really, really grateful for the things that you do. I think one of the things that was always remarkable to me is that even though, again, some people would say that they don't have much, there's still a lot of hope there.
Yes.
There's hope that for their families, hope for their own lives, and hope that things can get better.
Yes, I love that. Where do you believe the greatest challenges still needs to happen when it comes to healthcare and when it comes to assisting in the community?
So some of the greatest challenges in healthcare are the costs. And I think, to me, healthcare is a right. So I believe healthcare should be free.
Right.
And that if all preventative healthcare should be free.
Yes.
And that for special things or additional things that people want, then, you may have to pay for that.
Right.
But in a country like the United States, with all the wealth that's here, and then you compare that to some of the international places where healthcare is free,
Right.
it just doesn't make sense to me. So legislation needs to be changed so that we can do that. We can do a better job of keeping people healthy.
I love that.
And I think also in communities, as I've mentioned previously, or as I have mentioned, folks should realize that there's something everybody can do.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
I agree, Dr. Moore. It's work to be done.
Absolutely.
And we all
Every
can
day.
put our hands in to make things happen and make our communities and our world a better place. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Dr. Moore, you've accomplished so much, but I know you're not finished. So what is your vision for Healing Community Center over the next 5 to 10 years?
I'd love to see our center continue to grow, continue to partner with faith-based organizations, and we're starting to do that, to expand to other areas kind of in South Atlanta and North, where there are just as disparate conditions.
Right.
I'd love to see more people get out and try and identify issues for folks and seeing how we can partner with them.
Love that.
Or, if we can help them partner with each other.
Right.
Whatever needs to happen to help this whole, I'll call it a movement,
Yes.
extend so folks can live healthy lives.
Dr. Moore, I so agree with you. I just feel like it's enough of us to make change. And that's why this interview was so important to me, because I want our viewers and I want our community to understand that it's real people that's doing real work, right? And the people that are doing the real work, we still need help. We still need people to put their hands to the plow to assist and to be part of the change. And so what legacy do you hope this work leaves behind for you, Dr. Moore?
Legacy, I hope that people, when they see me or see things I've done in my life, that they think of me as a spark that helps to ignite their lives and their minds to know that things can be different, they can be better.
Yes.
And that it only takes one step to move towards making things better.
I absolutely agree. I agree with that. And Dr. Moore, this was an amazing conversation. I appreciate you sitting with me this evening, sharing your heart, sharing your life, sharing your accomplishments, sharing your hope for the health equity of our country. And again, I'm so grateful that we're acknowledging you. And guys, listen, Dr. Moore is our first recipient for our Health Equity Award for the Secret Garden Gala. So moving forward, the Health Equity Award will be the Dr. Charles Moore Award every year with the Love Rekindle because of the work he has done and because of the compassion and empathy that he has for the community. We just don't see no other way to celebrate health equity in our community. So if you have not gotten your tickets yet, make sure that you come and celebrate with us, because Dr. Moore and his accomplishments and the things that he is continuing to do in the world needs to be celebrated. And again, Dr. Moore, this was an amazing, amazing conversation. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to sit with us and be a part of it. And the Love Rekindle family, we are grateful to have you be a part of what we are doing in the community.
Thank you. And I'm truly humbled and so appreciative that you thought enough of what I try to do to name this award after me. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Well, listen, guys, we'll see you at the 2026 Love Rekindle Gala. Come and celebrate with us to celebrate Dr. Moore and his amazing accomplishments. Have a great evening.